Hello, everybody, and welcome to Late Night Football. Welcome to this match reaction show. Incredibly, it's finished Leicester 1, Arsenal 3. So, I mean, did anyone predict that? Did anyone predict that? It's hard to say, isn't it? Arsenal somehow tend to do well against some of the bigger teams. So, it's not a surprise, not entirely a surprise. But I think coming off of the back of what we saw on Thursday, when Leicester were beaten. I mean, Arsenal came from behind to win. I think Arsenal's confidence would have been up. And the law of reverse momentum generally dictates that the team with the momentum loses. But I mean, it was interesting. It was a very, very good performance from Arsenal. I think it might have been one of the best in the Premier League this season. Maybe the Chelsea game was better, but I think just the fact that they came from behind to win against a team that's ahead of them and probably one of the better teams in the league this season. That's just I think for me this might be the better performance than the Chelsea one. To be honest, it was brilliant to watch. Leicester actually started well to begin with. I mean, Tielemans with a nice solo goal. Arsenal defending a bit lax there. I think understandable because they had Pablo Mari playing after a long time. He doesn't play a lot, so he's playing in that center of the defense. So probably there was not as much. He was still getting used to the game, and so that makes sense. And Leicester took the lead. And I think this is a problem with Leicester and with Brendan is this game management, this understanding of how to actually play out games. I'm not saying that they had to park the bus from there, but when you're 1-0 up in a game like this against a team that likes to park the bus, that likes to defend deep, then you've got the initiative. You've now got something. You're going to force them to play differently, and then it's just a matter of capitalizing on it, getting maybe another goal, creating chances, making them think about it. It just didn't happen. And considering the fact that they didn't have James Madison today, and that's something that we'll talk about. But I just felt that they had a real good foothold, but then they just gave it away. And I think after the first 10-15 minutes, I think Arsenal grew into the game. They came into it. I mean, Pepe had Luke Thomas on toast for the entire first half that he played. It just looked like a matter of time before he was going to get a yellow card, and then he finally did get a yellow card. And from that free kick, and that was actually unfortunate because he actually slipped. And that was the one time when he wasn't trying to challenge him and he slipped and he falls down. But then from that free kick, well worked free kick. I thought it was a lot of nice movement. I think everybody probably expected Pepe to shoot, but it was Willian who took it. Willian gets the assist. David Luiz scores a goal made in Chelsea. By the way, just think about that for a second. Arsenal scoring goal that was actually made with two ex-Chelsea players. But that was brilliant. That was a brilliant goal to get them back in the game. And then the penalty, I think that was just that was just a silly decision from NDD, not the penalty, but just silly because I think what is happening, and again, this is just my opinion, what I thought was he was trying to block it with his leg. So he raised his leg, and when you raise your leg, when you raise one leg, you've got to kind of put your hands up because you've got to balance yourself. The ball misses his leg and it hits his hand. So that's it's a bit of a kind of thing that it's one of those things where you've got to be a little bit smarter and realize that it's what am I doing or what am I trying to do? I thought that was a bit of a poor decision making there from NDD, but you kind of see where that's happening is because he's raised his leg to try to block the ball with his leg, and when it misses his leg, it takes his hand because his hands are up in the air to balance. So was it a penalty? Yes. Was it stupid decision making from NDD? Yes. And then the goal just comes after that. I mean, like I said, finishes it off, no hesitation. And from being 1-0 down after 6 minutes, Arsenal got the break 2-1 up. And, from that point on, I think the game kind of played into Arsenal's hands anyway. But then the second half, I mean, first Luke Thomas goes off with an injury. Then Ricardo comes on. And then, Harvey Barnes' injury. I think that was the kicker. I think that, more than anything else, I think that sucked the life out of Leicester because they've been ravaged with injuries. They didn't have James. They will not have James Madison for an extended amount of time. Now they lose Harvey Barnes, who's probably been one of the better players this season. He's one of the guys that Leicester rely upon. So he's got to come off, and I think that just shot Leicester. I think Leicester. There are certain moments in games sometimes when you realize, what, this is my day, or what, today is not going to be our day. And I think that might have creeped into the minds of the players. The professional players they're taught and they learn not to think like that, but sometimes you do. And I think just the fact that some of the Leicester players just thought, what, this is not going to be our day today. It's not going to work. And then in that time, some sloppy play. There's a counter attack, and Arsenal go and score. Pepe probably scoring the easiest goal of his career with a tap in, which I thought that was bad goalkeeping again from Schmeichel, because I think Schmeichel should have either smothered it out or realized what was happening, but I think it was too late to react. I think the whole Leicester defense was pretty bad on that goal. And it was that was the end of it. I think once it was 3-1, Leicester, I think at that point it was over. It was game over, because I think at Leicester after that just disintegrated. In terms of attacks, there was a lot of bit of scrappy play. There was a lot of fouls, things like that. They were getting frustrated. You kind of knew they were not going to get back into it, even though there was about 40 minutes in the game. You just kind of knew they were not going to get back into it, and they did, and it finished 3-1. There was a bit of a late flurry at the end, but no, nothing too significant to worry Arsenal. I think that's going to be the key that Brendan's going to take away, is the fact that they didn't test Arsenal aside from that first goal and a couple of long range shots. They really didn't test Arsenal today, and that is something that's going to be concerning for Brendan, not least because he's now lost two of his key creative players in James Maddison and now Harvey Barnes. He's lost both of them, and also Jonny Evans is off. But more importantly, his two creative players are not playing now, are not going to be playing for an extended amount of time. So that's going to be a concern for Brendan, is how are they going to create chances? How are they going to test opposition defenses? But on the Arsenal side, I mean, Emil Smith Rowe going off would have been disappointing for him. But Odegaard, is a fantastic replacement. I think he's going to be he's a very good talent. I think as he get games, as he starts getting more and more game time, I think he will be a very important player for Arsenal this season, and if he stays on into next season. But he looks class. He looks a really, really good player at the moment for me. But he wasn't one of the standouts today. I think the standouts, I think Willian had his best game for Arsenal today. That's my takeaway from that. And maybe this is something that Leicester played into Arsenal's hands, and so it allowed Willian to flourish. Or maybe Willian has finally understood that he's collecting away, so he's got to do something at this club. So maybe he will, if that would be a catalyst for him to start performing better. I thought he was good against Benfica as well when he came on. I think the fact that he gives something to Arsenal. It isn't always apparent, but he gives something, and maybe this is something that he can build on. Maybe the fact that he's been upstaged by a 19-year-old kid has probably finally given him some sort of motivation to try and do better. So we'll see what happens. But I thought Willian had a good game. I thought Pepe had a good game today as well. I think both of them were excellent. I thought Elneny was brilliant again in that middle, and it's interesting that everybody thought that Thomas Partey was going to own that midfield, but he's yet to sort of make that his own. He probably will become first choice at some point if he can get over his injury issues and he can get his fitness back. I think he'll be that. But in the meantime, Elneny has been brilliant for them. Xhaka looked good today as well. I think I can't really fault anybody at Arsenal. I think everybody had, it was sort of game of Arsenal. Everybody had 7s and 8s out of 10s. If you were doing sort of a rating system, that's probably what you would do. You would give Arsenal. I think everybody had a pretty decent game, and that's what you want again in these sort of games. Again, it's just a matter of getting players who can have these 7s out of 10s, 8 out of 10. So I thought it was excellent. I thought it was a very good game to watch, especially in the first half. I thought it was really good because there was intent from both sides. Leicester were not just sitting back; they were trying. The issue was that they were trying, but they were not trying. Their efforts were not coming off. I thought Brendan got this one wrong as well. I think starting with the 4-4-2 against an Arsenal team is just asking for trouble in some ways, because I'm sure the directive would have been that Kelechi Iheanacho has got to be like the third midfielder and come and track back. But in reality, what happens with the 4-4-2 often is if you don't have a striker who can sort of create chances or be sort of a center forward, and neither Vardy nor Iheanacho are that, what happens is oftentimes there's a gap between the midfield and the attack, and if you don't have a striker or center forward who can bridge that, what it does is allows the opposition midfield to kind of fill in that gap. And every time you try to pass, all you're doing is you actually everything just happens in front of the defense. So it's almost, think of it like as like two sides of a wall, or the two sides. It's like the middle of a wall. You've got two walls there, which is the midfield and the attack, and then there's something in between. So there's something in between, and that's the gap. And that gap was filled. I thought Elneny and Xhaka did really well to cover it, and there was no link up. There was no link between the two sides of that or whatever you want to call it, two walls. There was no link between the two. I think Iheanacho struggled with that today. It's not his role, so he can't really do it. So you can't really blame him for it. And I think that was a tactical mistake. I think probably having a third midfielder, even if it was a 4-3-3, I think that probably would have been better, because then at least they would not, because the other side of the issue was the fact that there was no link up between Iheanacho, or rather between attack, midfield and attack. There was no link up. But also the fact was that they kept getting overrun in midfield because they only had two in the middle. So every time they lost the ball, inevitably, then they were getting broken upon and they didn't have numbers. So I think a 4-3-3 might have been better because it might have given them some control in midfield. But maybe he thought that having NDD and Tielemans would have been good enough defensively. Maybe I don't know. But anyway, there's no doubt that he got it wrong today, and hopefully he'll learn from that. And hopefully Leicester can pick themselves back up because they've got lots of games coming up. It's still very, very tight there in that top four, top six area. I think Arsenal are out of the conversation for now. I think they are from the top four. I think they might still have a chance to make the Europe or the Conference League through the league positions. They might still have a chance there. But I think they're out of the Champions League conversation for now. We'll see what happens in the next game against Chelsea and United. But it just looks like at the moment they're too far away from that position, from those positions. But there's still some games left, so we don't know yet what's going to happen. But I think that's for now, that's what it looks like. But then Arsenal have the Europa League, and I think this game will give them a lot of confidence for that they can take into. But anyway, final score: Leicester City 1, Arsenal 3. Good win for Arsenal. A great result for them. It's something that they can build on. For Leicester, I think more than the result, the issue will be the injuries. They've lost 2 key players in this the last couple of weeks now, and probably a third as well, Jonny Evans. I don't know how serious his injury was. Didn't look very serious, but it might be serious. So they hope he's not out for long. The saving grace is the fact that they probably will be playing 1 game a week going forward for a while now, and maybe the FA Cup interspersed in between, but they'll probably have 1 game a week at least with more recovery time. And that's something that they'll be looking forward to. But let me know in the comment section what you thought of the game. What do you think were the key points? Was Harvey Barnes' injury a turning point as I thought, or do you think it was something else? Let me know in the comment sections. Please do smash a like if you enjoyed this video. And please remember to subscribe to the channel if you're new, want to keep growing this channel, and your subscription helps with that, helps in supporting me in producing more videos. So please do that. We're going to probably come back again for a couple more. We've got some big games today. It's a packed day today. There's 4 big teams playing. 4 more big teams playing, 3 more matches to go, so we'll come back with reactions for that as well. But thank you for watching. Have a good day or night, whatever time you're watching this, and I'll see you again very, very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.